using the greeting words of our ancient African ancestors. Hotep, I am Osiris Speaks, Chief Elder of the Pan-African International Movement and the Sankofa Reparation Repatriation Movement, bringing to you the divine truth on the various issues that affect the lives of Black African people. And I come directly at you by indicating to you that my primary concern is about Africa and Black African people, not about everybody else who has no concern for Africa nor for Black African people. Now, I don't know if you Black folks has been observing what's been going on in America here for the last year or so. Things are changing very rapidly, rhetorically, I mean. You have a few new young activists on the scene in America. You have Ilhan Omar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and many others who are political media aspirants, activists, who is taken to the airwaves by storm, but speaking on issues that has nothing to do with the liberation of Africa, nor with Black African people. It's as if they have bought into the lies given by the racist white oligarchs in America that Black folks is free, that they need not be considered today in regards to freedom, justice, independence. Well, that is not correct. Black folk is still under a state of oppression. Black folk still, regardless of what white folk says, are not free. And I don't need to emphasize, we do not have a relationship with justice, nor are we independent to make decisions for ourselves here in America. So even though the slickster, the racist, prejudice, discriminating white folk, oligarchs in particular, are implying and indicating that Black folks has overcome in America. And the odd thing about it is, it seems as if Black folks believe that shit. You see, Black people are the most inactive people living with the yoke of oppression around our mind who do not make an effort to indicate to have a desire to be free, to have justice as our companion, and to be independent in Africa. Yes, in Africa. There is the only place where black folks has the potential of ever becoming free, independent, and having justice on our side. So there are so much that are being said, and nothing is being done by black African people to change the state of our condition. And I'm here to let you know, in America, among white folks, black lives do not matter, regardless of what the slogan says. It's what the action reveals. We have talk going on about nationalism. And let me say up front, without apology, without shame, but with pride, I am a black nationalist, Pan-African, who has no regrets for being in possession of the ideals and philosophy that came forth from the Honorable Marcus Garvey. So with that said, so much now is being said and have you to believe that nationalism is a dirty word. There's nothing dirty about true and undefiled nationalism. That nationalism does not represent racism, unjust prejudice, injustice. It's the direct opposite. True nationalism indicates patriotism, honor, and respect for the land that you live in. So, all of the talk now about nationalism is being unbecoming to America. Not so. White America are the most nationalists in America you can find. When you stand and pledge allegiance to America, when you sing, God bless America, my country, tears of thee, you are indicating a state of nationalism, a mind of patriotism to America. And white folks has no problem in doing that. So no, I will not denounce my nationalism based on the ill-gotten definition coming from racist, lying and deceiving white folk who trying to make political points. You see, if you don't know who you are, you set yourself up to be whoever white folks claim you to be. And at this time, it appears as if that is where black folks are in America today. Hitler was not a devout nationalist. He was an aspiring conqueror. He didn't care anything about Germany, nor his people. He was self-conceited, with a habit, addicted to becoming famous. And he would step and run over any and everybody that get in his way, on his way to reach that goal. So I do not compare nationalism with that type of behavior. You have in America today a compulsory of white folk and their surrogates running around lying without embarrassment about a whole host of issues that they misdefine. Mainly the issue of reparation. Now, I don't have to ask anybody about what reparation is all about, what it means, what its purpose. I know. And if you find anybody who are attempting to indicate to you that they are for reparation, but do not indicate that it's the reparation that our enslaved African ancestors has earned during the bout with child slavery, then that's the wrong reparation. It's the counterfeit reparation that white folks now is speaking about, and many black folks, especially those who are running for political office. They don't have their ass on reparation. All they're trying to do is get some votes from black folk. And they'll tell black people what they feel black people would like to hear. Ask them what reparation means to them, and they'll tell you verbatim what white folks has indicated what reparation means. Reparation is the debt that is owed to our enslaved African ancestors, and don't let anybody mislead you otherwise, black people. And we, as the descendants of those enslaved African ancestors, must get up off of our behind and get to work to let the world know that we are no longer asleep, that we are waking up to the fact that we must fight for our own freedom, for our own justice, for our own independence there to be in Africa, because you aren't going to have those values here in America. It's not meant for you to have them here. And I don't know if you noticed it or not, black folk, but you have become obsolete. White folks giving off the impression that you no longer are discriminated against. You are no longer victims of racism. You are no longer victims of unjust prejudices that you have overcome. And you sitting around on your no do nothing behind, acting as if that's correct. Not so. Black folks are still killing black folks at will. Black folks are still locking us up at will. Black folks are still giving us unjust sentencing to our young men. They are still riding the wagon of discrimination, of racism, of prejudice towards black African people. And yet what we do as the people here in America, not by choice, we run behind them, wait on them to choose their issues that they're having with each other, and then we force ourselves in the way to pick and choose between the two devils. No, beloved black African people, we must rise to become a voice of our own, a force of our own, to indicate to the world that we are now alive and aware of what it is we must do as black African people to save ourselves, to regain Africa, to be for the black Africans, and to have in Africa a United States of Africa government to govern African people, and to have the rise of a unified black African nation, no longer under the tutelage, no longer under the roots of tribalism, but is one collective, unified black African people. That is the way we are to roll today. That is the lane we must travel today if our destination is freedom, justice, and independence. So do not be dissuaded nor persuaded to go no other way other than the way of freedom, of justice, and independence. I ask, where is it that Ilham Amar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the likes of, where do they stand on the issue of reparation? And watch what they say. It'll be the same old regurgitation of the same bull that is going on today by white folks, by Negroes who do not have their mind not patriotically on reparation. So do not be misled, black people. Do not be misused by your own kind. Those who look like you are not always you, black African people. And don't be overly concerned about what white folks believe about you. They have shown to you from the first day they walked into the presence of our ancient African ancestors that they don't give a damn about you. All they care about when it comes to black people is how much they can use your black behind and keep you ignorant about who you are and what it is you need to do as a people to rise again as one unified black African nation with a goal and the intention of making Africa a kingdom again. Yes, those should be the aspirations and the goals of a divine mind of black African people who has no problem with indicating to the world our nationalism towards Africa, our aspiration for freedom, for justice, and independence as we define it to be for ourselves and not somebody else for us. So let us continue to rise, to be aware of who we are. And those of us who have yet to reach that pinnacle of self-awareness, get up. Stop being so submissive to the lies that are told to you, to the actions of deceit that comes your way from the Luciferian human being, they whom you emulate every day and has a desire to be just like. No, there is no freedom in that. There is no justice in that type of living. There is no independence. You are only a modern day slave, a servant to your master, the white Luciferian human being. So it is time for black African people to make a decision whether or not you're going to be black or you're going to continue to attempt to be white. One, you are naturally designed to be. The other, you'll never be. But yet, it seems as if you are inspired to become what you are not meant to be. That's white, black people. Hotep.